this is Willow Gaming, and today I'm going to show you how to build this. For this build you're going to need some stone bricks, some terracotta of your choice, some stripped wood of your choice but I used birch, some mossy brick stairs, a cobbled wall or any kind of wall of your choice, slabs, some stairs, some cobbled deep slate, a darker wood than the wood that you chose before. For a little bit of contrast, I use dark oak. Some glass, some panes, another colour of terracotta of your choice, a wooden slab, preferably the same wood as this one. The same wood as that one. Another kind of wall, I used andesite. I didn't use that. And I used these types of wood just to add a little bit of detail with the pinkish terracotta. We are going to start this build with an outline. I used orange wool, but you can use anything. We're going to go 35 blocks along. Then we're going to go up 15, and this is going to be a 15 by 15, but without the bottom bit, because we're going to make sort of an hourglass shape. With another colour, I used purple temporarily. We're going to do a 25 upwards line from the bit where we did the top of the 15 by 15, so we can get the right parameters and stuff, but it doesn't really matter. We are going to be moving on to the stairs next. We're going to use our walls and our stairs and our slabs to make a little staircase going up to the grand entrance of our garden slash space slash whatever you want it to be. Then we're going to use our birch to make a nice little landing. We're going to try and make it look as neat as possible. I don't really know how to do that. Wood really kind of annoys me. Okay, then we're going to take our cobble, deep slate, and we're going to outline the orange wool because I can't be bothered to remove the orange wool, as we can see later. Then after a few levels we're going to do our terracotta and then just leave it like that. We're going to start with the roof shape. I wanted a little bit of more of a dome effect, so we started with 3 across and then 2 up, and then 3 across and then 4 up, and then 3 across and then 2 up, and then just started making the increments that we went up slightly smaller than the last, but the cross line stays the same, so it doesn't look wonky and wobbly. Then I started with the floor. It's just basically the same design as the outside, just stripped wood across and across and across. It just kind of makes it patterned, but without taking too much away from the rest of the build. I then started to outline the orange wool with some stairs and my birch logs, mostly because I couldn't be bothered to get rid of the orange wool, but I think it turned out great. Next, I started with the roof. I just did my stripped dark oak logs and pushed them up right into the corner, leaving a gap where you can see through. Kind of, yeah, basically. And made sure to leave an overhang of maybe 2-3 blocks overside and made it neat and all that. So it kind of looks a little bit like a bench, like a garden bench, I suppose. But we're going to put some glass in between the slots, so then when it's nighttime you can look up and see the stars. Probably will be closed by the time you can see the stars, depending on the time of year. But I suppose if you wanted to make this your base, then it would be really good to look out to see what time of day it was. I wanted to add a little bit more shape, so I took a dark colour of terracotta and just slightly moved the shape out a little bit, slightly higher up than the rest of the floor to give it a little bit more levels, because levels and shape and all that makes builds look decent, I suppose. Then for a little bit of support, just put some stairs on the side so it wasn't floating. As you can see here, I did a little archway and some stairs down so you can go see the gardens. I'm going to put some stairs up to the higher platforms so you can go see outside if you don't want to go out to the gardens. And I'm thinking about putting a cafe, some tables around so you can have a little look, drink some coffee, have some cake or a sandwich and look out at the pandas. Whoops, did I say pandas? Yes, there are going to be pandas. I think you saw that in the little time-lapse thing I put at the beginning of the episode. But let's just pretend that the pandas are a surprise. Okay, now I'm going to go into the little roof bits. It's basically the same design as before, just adding a little bit more of a lower arch for contrast, I suppose. I don't know, just did what I wanted to do, looked right, I suppose. Made sure that it didn't hang out too far or was too in to make, otherwise it'd look a bit weird, wouldn't it? Put the glass in the slats and used some slabs to make it look a little bit more dimensional than it would have looked. But I did mess around with a million different designs to see what looked right. Honestly, you can do whatever you think looks right for yourself. I thought the walls outside looked a little bit flat, so I used some crimson logs and some stripped crimson logs and some planks and some trapdoors to make it a little bit more textured. So I did like maybe a shadow, put the lighter woods next to the darker woods and made it a little bit more dimensional. Then I put some glass, just copying the pattern of the roof, I don't know, to give it a little bit more excitingness, I suppose. Then I added some diorite for a little bit of contrast. I do love some contrast, I have to be honest. This is the part where you can do whatever you want creatively. I took my spade and did a little bit of a path on both sides, like a little walkway, and I'm going to put lots of plants and trees inside of it to give it a lot of depth. Then I decided I wanted a little pond. I was going to put the pond all the way through, but because I'm on a flat world, it probably would have not worked as well, so yeah. And then I made the bottom of it into mud to make it a little bit more nicer and soggy, I suppose. And then I decided to build a tree. I decided to build a willow tree. I've never built a willow tree before, and I'm actually really proud of this. Just made sure to do a big, thick trunk and then use lots of different types of woods and mud walls. I've got to put that in the inventory thingy. Some different colour leaves for a little bit of depth, I suppose, and some glow berries, which I took from when I saw Gemini Tay's video a few weeks ago because I thought that was a good idea. I think the willow tree was a creative decision from that video. Then I just decided to do some bushes, a little bit of hanging things on the hanging thing, and just made the space look very pretty and green. Then I put another tree on the side, used some pale oak leaves for a little bit of contrast. I need to use a different word than contrast, honestly. I think it's the only word I'm using this video. I then wanted to start on the little side shops. I don't know which one this one is. It might be either the shop or the cafe. I think this one's the shop. Okay, I started with the outline of the stair bricks and then the cobbled deep slate. And then I added some of my beautiful pink terracotta or magenta, I don't know. And did it one more out than the rest of the shape. So that there's more room and stuff. A little bit of a bigger shop, and of course we need to add a bit more shape and things. Obviously, if you wanted to do this as your base, this could be a little storage room or your bedroom or an enchanting room, just anything you want really. Could be a barn even, if you wanted a barn, I don't know. Or you know what's annoying, right? I put those frogs in and they kept jumping out. So by the end of the video, there are no frogs left, and that is quite annoying. I do need to remember to breathe whilst doing these voiceovers, I swear. Otherwise, I am going to pass out. Lol. Okay, I did the same kind of floor things at the bottom of the floor, and then just part the wool. The wool? Not the wool. The terracotta up. I don't know how to speak anymore, but that is okay. And then I started on the other side. I don't know. That's all I have left to say for this bit. See you later. Have some good music time. Hee 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 hee. Okay, I really enjoyed doing this part. I just did some farmland, lots of farmland, some beetroot seeds, some wheat. Wheat is such a lovely decorative thingy-mabob because it has such a lovely colour. I always love putting like mud around it and putting some of those pink little flowers and salt sand, I suppose, if you go to the nether. If you want to go to the nether. Don't know why I put bamboo there, but I suppose it blends in the green a little bit. Who knows? And some moss, because you can't go wrong with some moss. Some of those blue little things from the nether. Lots of flowers. I honestly love those flowers. And then the little newish bushes. And then put lots of big flowers over there. And a bit of wheat. Because it's pretty, you know? This could make an excellent farm space in a base. A safe little pig farm, an animal farm, I don't know. Anything. Could be anything. Anything you want. It could be an administrative building. Yours doesn't have to be pink, by the way. Yours can be yellow. You can use some glazed terracotta. That'd be nice. Why didn't I think about using glazed terracotta? I don't know. Maybe I need to redo the whole thing and put some glazed terracotta. Okay, I put some axolotls in this pond and forgot that I put the thingy onto peaceful. I assume it's because I put the settings onto peaceful because all those slimes were so annoying and I don't know why I made the world slimeless because those noises were awful. Oh yeah, and I put some sunflowers in because you can't go wrong with some sunflowers. So I decided to build another tree because you can't have enough trees, can you? Basically, how to build a tree: massive big trunk, and then as the trunk goes smaller, you add your branches. And the more branches you add, you gotta add the smaller branches because I don't know why, that's just science. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I forgot that videos can be fun and not always serious, and I'm just rambling about absolutely nothing. I tell you, this video has taken me so long to build because it's been so hot recently, and then I couldn't be bothered to do voiceovers, even though voiceovers are the easiest part. This build overall took me about 6 hours. About 6 hours of footage in a 20-minute video, which is, you know, fun. So next we're going to build a little teeny tiny tree. I've never really built a teeny tiny tree before, so it was quite hard. I suppose it looks alright. Could be better, I suppose. Now it's time for the inside. This is the pit. The bit where you come in and say, "Hi, can I have a ticket please?" And I suppose it's also the kitchen. I don't know. Pretend there's a stand or case full of cakes and sandwiches and things. Yummy sandwiches. There's some stairs. There's some. I really do love those mangrove trapdoors. I don't know why, they're just so pretty. And let's just assume that nobody's going to fall down that massive big hole down there, because health and safety doesn't exist in Minecraft. Woohoo! Unless it's creepers. I mean, I suppose creepers could just come right in. It's not a very secure base. But if you want to make it a secure base, then you do that, because I think this is going to take you a while if you build this. And what's the worst thing to do then? A creeper. Oh, I think that is the end of the video. I think I got everything, yeah? I couldn't be bothered to decorate the insides of the shops and the little cafe. But anyway, that's the end. I hope you really, really enjoyed it, and I shall see you all later. Bye!